Hey guys, it's your girl Sage. I hope you're having a wonderful day or night whenever this video finds you. I'm here with our daily bread, and for today we have the book of Isaiah, chapter 23. Proclamation against Tyre. The burden against Tyre. Wail, you ships of Tarshish, for it is laid waste, so that there is no house, no harbor. From the land of Cyprus it is revealed to them. Be still, you inhabitants of the coastland, you merchants of Sidon, whom those who crossed the sea have filled. And on great waters the grain of Shihor, the harvest of the river, is her revenue, and she is a marketplace for the nations. Be ashamed, O Sidon, for the sea has spoken, the strength of the sea, saying, I do not labor, nor bring forth children, neither do I rear young men, nor bring up virgins. When the report reaches Egypt, they also will be in agony at the report of Tyre. Cross over to Tarshish, wail, you inhabitants of the coastland. Is this your joyous city, whose antiquity is from ancient days, whose feet carried her far off to dwell, who has taken this counsel against Tyre, the crowning city, whose merchants are princes, whose traders are the honorable of the earth? The Lord of hosts has purposed it, to bring to dishonor the pride of all glory, to bring into contempt all the honorable of the earth. Overflow through your land like the river, O daughter of Tarshish. There is no more strength. He stretched out his hand over the sea. He shook the kingdoms. The Lord has given a commandment against Canaan to destroy its strongholds. And he said, You will rejoice no more, O you oppressed virgin of Sidon. Arise, cross over to Cyprus. There also you will have no rest. Behold, the land of the Chaldeans, this people which was not, Assyria founded it for wild beasts of the desert. They set up its towers, they raised up its palaces, and brought it to ruin. Wail, you ships of Tarshish, for your strength is laid waste. Now it shall come to pass in that day that Tyre will be forgotten 70 years, according to the days of one king. At the end of 70 years it will happen to Tyre as in the song of the harlot. Take a harp, go about the city, you forgotten harlot, make sweet melody, sing many songs, that you may be remembered. And it shall be at the end of 70 years that the Lord will deal with Tyre. She will return to her hire and commit fornication with all the kingdoms of the world on the face of the earth. Her gain and her pay will be set apart for the Lord. It will not be treasured nor laid up, for her gain will be for those who dwell before the Lord, to eat sufficiently and for fine clothing. All right, let's talk about it. The book of Isaiah, chapter 23. In this chapter, we see that the Lord God is speaking a proclamation against Tyre, and he's speaking it 70 years before it comes to pass. I say this because we actually see this being referred back to in the book of Ezekiel, chapters 26 and 27, when the Lord God is bringing what he has spoken to pass. But nonetheless, this chapter is the Lord God speaking against Tyre, because Tyre for the longest time has had the history of having jealousy and rivalry harbored towards the people of Jerusalem for their great prosperity, not recognizing that their prosperity is simply a result of being God's children. And in doing this, also we see that Tyre is a nation that is known for selling everything and anything, between garments to idolatrous figures, from spices to slaves. Tyre has absolutely no problem with exploiting and profiting over the misfortune of other people. And this is no different when Jerusalem suffers their downfall from the Lord God's discipline and wrath, because Jerusalem themselves began to idolize material wealth as well, following in suit of Tyre. For Tyre is recognized as this great nation, but for what purpose? Because of all of their material wealth. In Isaiah chapter 23, verses 8 and 9, who has taken this counsel against Tyre, the crowning city, whose merchants are princes, whose traders are the honorable of the earth? The Lord of hosts has purposed it, to bring to dishonor the pride of all glory, to bring into contempt all the honorable of the earth. And the Lord God is doing this. He's purposed Tyre for this destruction because he wants to make a spectacle out of Tyre. That material wealth is nothing in comparison to the wrath of the Lord or having fear of the Lord. True wealth and true gain come from fear of the Lord. And this chapter serves as a warning to avoid collecting things of the world, material wealth, and putting our faith and stock into these things above fear of the Lord. I'm reminded of something from Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 11. When goods increase, they increase who eat them. So what profit have the owners except to see them with their eyes? We can't take any of this with us when we pass on. And I say this because while reading this chapter, we're reminded of something that we read in Mark chapter 10, verses 17 through 22, when Jesus is counseling a young rich ruler who, while he does everything he can to uphold the law of Moses, he makes sacrifices as needed. He also honors others and is kind to others. Jesus tells him, okay, if you want to be perfect, go and sell all of your goods and follow me. But he's unable to part with his material wealth, and because of this, he walks away sadly, and Jesus turns to his disciples and says, surely I tell you that it would be far easier for a camel to make it through the eye of a storm than it is for a rich person to make it into the kingdom of heaven, because he had too much attachment to his material wealth. Again, we can't take any of this when we pass on. We read in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 7, for we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. So what purpose does gaining material wealth serve? What profit a man from the material wealth that he gains here during his time here on earth? Mark 8:36, for what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? What gain does a man receive when he gains everything he wanted from life and loses his own soul? We see in the book of Ecclesiastes, this is the very question that the knowledgeable preacher is exploring through when he gains himself all of the servants, all of the fruit trees, the orchards. He gains everything, and yet he is still not satisfied. Does having all of this material wealth serve? Well, Tyre was using it to exalt themselves over others. Tyre, in the book of Ezekiel, chapters 26 and 27, in the lamentation against Tyre, or proclamation against Tyre and the lamentation, we see that Tyre was exalted in the eyes of nations because of their material wealth, but their material wealth that had been gained through blood, through the suffering of others, and in doing this reflected true evil. In Luke chapter 12, verse 15, and he said to them, take heed and beware of covetousness, for one's life does not consist of the abundance of the things he possesses. Jesus is warning his disciples to watch out and to be on guard against all kinds of greed. That life is not simply what it is that we own, but more than the food, more than the clothing, more than our material wealth that we have. There is so much more to life than any of these things. And Jesus reminds us of this when we read Matthew chapter 6, verse 25. Therefore, I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Because just like that young rich ruler who could not depart from his material wealth to follow Jesus, in doing this, he is forfeiting the kingdom of heaven for his material wealth. And because that young rich ruler could not follow Jesus, because he could not part with his material wealth and sell and give it to the poor to follow him, he proves himself to be a slave to the sins of greed and gluttony. In John chapter 8, verses 34 through 36, Jesus answered them, most assuredly I say to you, whoever commits sin is a slave of sin. And a slave does not abide in the house forever, but a son abides forever. Therefore, if the Son makes you free, you shall be free indeed. It is only through Jesus that we receive freedom from these things, and not just the sin of greed and gluttony, but other sins as well, such as the sin of lust or the sin of pride or wrath or envy, envying others for having the things that we do not possess. And it shall be at the end of 70 years that the Lord will deal with Tyre. She will return to her hire and commit fornication with all the kingdoms of the world on the face of the earth. Her gain and her pay will be set apart for the Lord. It will not be treasured nor laid up, for her gain will be for those who dwell before the Lord, to eat sufficiently and for fine clothing. The Lord is going to use Tyre instead to sustain his people, which is a reflection of the fact that it is true wealth that is found in the Lord God, who provides all of our things that we need. He is the one that we look to for provision, not things of the world. But in any case, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this word up here. I am praying that this message has blessed someone, and if it did, feel free to like, subscribe, and until next time, I hope all of y'all take care. Bye-bye!